to work. I sat and watched the thing. They had a thing they put on there. Said it was Luciano Pavarotti's granddaughter 11 years ago. And she sang as, wow, that little girl has a wonderful voice. Then I went to go see if there was any more videos of her singing, and there wasn't. And then they had a thing that said it was Luciano Pavarotti's granddaughter who was 15 on a talent show thing. The girl had a wonderful voice, but that's all they showed of her. And it's like, wow, both those young ladies had wonderful voices. Then I went to go see the thing, and it had what I thought about the girl in the talent show, and it didn't, and it was all just, and I said, oh, okay. And then I watched another thing, and Walk of Fame and Star of Fame, and I was just like, and you listen to the people talk about, the circumstances, they're a global icon, and it's like, he's a very good singer, and a lot of people really enjoy his music, and it makes people go, wow, and that's very beautiful. And I think there was always room for people sharing music, okay? Even if we had lived the Lord's Prayer, I don't know if many of the songs would be as tragic and as mythological or selfish as they are, okay? And overly melodramatic. I can't tell you that. I'm not God, right? I just know, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Why have you forsaken me? But I am not in the least bit fascinated by anything people are doing right now, especially in the scientific community. Not fascinated at all. I find it just particularly disturbing that they're so slow to communicate faithfully and intelligently so we can live lives free from people sitting there with musical contest for money competition, looking at it and smiling. And like, how can you be fucking smiling? They're talking about the goddamned inheritance on the video. Inheritance of what? We have eternal wretchedness. We're not living the Lord's Prayer. Ave Maria, my ass. Okay. Fuck, you people suck. He gets started and he starts talking and then he cusses. Yeah, I cuss a lot. I get pissed. If you ask good questions and you believe in faithful, loving eternity, you become a reflection of that belief. And if you do not believe in a faithful eternity, you trap yourself in cussing and vulgarity and selfishness and inheritances and wills and trust funds and annuities and gross, right? It's terrible. And I talked to Dad about it earlier, about the eloquence of eternity and the beauty of atonement that we talked about earlier, that crime, punishment, atonement, that the moment you commit the crime, you receive the punishment, and the only way for atonement is to submit to faith and infinite glory instantly, kind of like, I'm sure, because that was the Medici with the St. Anthony movie endorsed by the Vatican. They don't know what they're talking about. They're drama queens. They're over melodramatic. Oh, pay attention to me. Oh. Right. And being a drama queen for money and then going and solving all the problems with your money doesn't solve any problems. It just makes you a hero for a day. But here's the nice thing. Is life is eternal and grace is infinite. The whole thing with Judy Krishnamurti hanging from the cliff, have faith and jump. Right. This is only a finite, small moment in time. When you look at the infiniteness of the cosmos and the omnipotent infiniteness of the glory of God, okay? This too shall pass, right? These little moments of selfishness, these little moments of greed and lust and, this horrible Earl cusses a lot. Yeah, well, shit, it's fucked up. Shit is fucked up. Yeah. It's like trying to hold up the goddamn universal joint on the international pickup truck on a parking lot at a Bob's Big Boy in Flagstaff, Arizona, freezing your ass off trying to heat up the whole damn Coconino County with your little body. No, Dad didn't. That was nice. There was one time where it was kind of nice working on that truck together. We got it fixed and rolled down into Phoenix. But, I was trying to hold it and it was cold. But he was down there working on it. And it would go and it would slip and we'd shit. And he wouldn't cuss me out. And he just sat there because he knew, because I was under that. We had that truck jacked up and I was holding on to that damn thing as well as I could. And it was cold. And we were in Arizona and we didn't expect the damn truck to, we didn't have jackets and it was freezing and fuck, it was miserable. We finally took hours, but we fixed the damn thing. And then we rolled. It's all downhill from Flagstaff to Phoenix, I don't know if it's Phoenix or Tucson. It might have been to Tucson. Might have been all the way down into Tucson. It might have been we were going to Tucson. But it's all downhill. You're rolling downhill and that fucking pickup truck. Were we in Tucson before Casper? We were. And we had to work on it in Casper too. We had the kerosene heater in the garage. And we were working on a lot of the same shit. And I remember my dad sitting there going, when I'm done fixing this, I'm going to drive this thing up to Casper Mountain, drive it up and do like they do in the movies. And I'm going to drive it off and step out and let it fucking crash and burn. Going to dance a jig all the way back home. I said, I'm down with you, Dad. Let's do this. Let's wait till it gets warmer. Because it was in Casper. It was cold as shit. It was freezing. Oh, good gravy. Yeah, no, I remember in Casper when we got those winds. I told you guys that story. I was a skinny kid, $140 at the most. And this lady, I was getting off the school bus. This lady had a chow and she was letting it out to go to the bathroom. I crossed the end of the cul-de-sac and the wind was blowing past our house into the cul-de-sac. And I could walk, I got off the bus and I could walk because I had my house blocking the wind up to my front door and just go inside, which is for a lady pinned against her garage with her chow. I came over there to help her get the chow and her back in the house. And we're going, no, literally, you are. Like the things that the used girls used to talk about with Trisha in Kansas. Thella and Eva and Kay were all bigger girls, And Trisha was like 95 pounds. She's tiny. They said literally one time the wind was blowing in Kansas and we were walking back stuff to the barracks or the dorms, and they had to hold on to Trisha. The wind picked Trisha up. They carried her because she is so tiny. You're like, no, and I'm like, I believe you. They told me that story. I'm like, I believe you because I had to help that little tiny woman with her chow back in to their house in the front door because they let the dog go out to go to the bathroom. And I was thinking next time, he goes, you guys might want to, do you have a back patio thing or a back door thing like we do? You might want to go out the back door and let them pee behind the house and then come back in. Don't go out the front door. The wind was 85 miles an hour. It had gusts up to 85. We're watching the news in Boulder. It was over 100 plus and houses were being knocked down by the wind. And I was like, golly. Yeah, it was whoosh. Good old Casper. Yeah. Or my dad when he started working at Luke Burles Plumbing. He was sitting there in the first week they were working. This guy goes, come here. He goes, what's the matter? He goes, you got to come out here and look at the flagpole. Dad was like, what? So, look. And the flag, both flags, the Wyoming and the American flag, were down. No wind at all. Just hanging straight down. He said, hell, you'll never see that again. That's what the guy said. And my dad was like, what? I've been in places where the flag does that. He said, shit, the rest of the time I was there, it was, it was a little bit less than years, like 10 months, but every time, they'd leave the job site and there was a place where the flag was. No, just whipping. Always whipping. And the guy goes, come here, you got to see this. What? You'll never see that again. Oh, shit. Oh, Wyoming, man. Yeah, it reminds me of Mr. Sanchez from Santa Fe. Yeah, and his little boy. They were watching Pavarotti on a Christmas special thing. He was singing. He told his son to go to bed because it was late, right? And then he looked down the end of the hallway. He could see his boy in the hallway, sitting in the hallway. He goes, come here. Has him sit on his lap. And he's in his, his Archie Bunker, Fred Flint, his chair, right? Boy comes and sits in his, he's a little boy, like 5 or 6. And he said, he fell asleep in my lap, but how could I deny him? It's Pavarotti, right? Ave Maria, And so, yeah. You come out, wow, that's beautiful. Let me go listen to it. Yeah, Lord's Prayer first. Lord's Prayer first. Otherwise, we're just a big bag of wind for money, and that's horrible to do to people. It's terrible to do to people. The Machiavellis and the Mussolinis and the Medicis of this world, they don't deserve to be the main presence in our life. They don't deserve to be the main influence in our life. Okay. When there's Ave Maria, they're talking about my mother's family line, Mildred Kramer's line, Ruth's line. Okay. They're not talking about the Medici and Machiavelli and Mussolini. Okay. They're talking about migrants having to relocate because of aggressive abuse. And I was thinking about the other day when I was shooting hoops in the barn. I was like, it makes sense. One, that I have a strong emotional and psychological and physiological and reproductive emotional feelings and ties to African and Iberian Peninsula and Morocco, type women. Because my family was forced away from Zion, where Adam and Eve are from. Okay, we didn't leave because it's like, we didn't leave because, please come to Boston for the springtime. I'm staying here with some friends and they got lots of room, And boy, she said, hey, rambling boy, why don't you settle down? Boston ain't your kind of town. There ain't no gold and there ain't nobody like me. I'm the number one fan of the man from Zion Valley. Right? It's like, no, they know who we are. They read the stories of our faith and our love and our kindness and our courage. And then they try to replace us with a little red-haired girl going, seriously, Laura Denton, you are great. It's Willow, with fantasy. It was a little redhead girl, but the little redhead girl was the mother of the little boy who looks like the Shroud of Turin when he gets older, right? That makes sense. And so, but, it also makes sense that I, in my generation, was the fastest man in the world and could jump higher than any other person in the world. The gracious good shepherd, the man most like King David, the fastest man on the planet and able to jump higher than anybody else. So it makes perfect sense, having to protect the faithful and the innocent from the guilty and the selfish. So it makes sense that I still had a lot of those genetic traits from African evolution and how I had to radically change to adapt to my environment to keep from dying and how quickly the body did it because of my genetics. So it makes sense. So a lot of stuff about my genetics, my immune system, my capacity to kick toxins out of the weakest points at a rapid rate to save my body from the poisoning and stuff. So a lot of this stuff just, you look at it and I just go, okay, this makes more sense. And I can't tell you if the hospitals in Las Cruces, they're not protecting me. It's a combination of corruption, ineptitude, and fear because of the George Orwell 1984 Big Brother thing. They even it's on a subconscious recognition to be afraid to talk, and that's what Rockefeller's talking about. They're terrified. It's like, I don't think they're terrified of me. I think they're terrified of you. I think I make them feel safe and secure, and if only. And so I think I think I make people feel like someday soon, going with him someday soon. I think I make people feel like, because when I talk to people, I hope so. I hope it's soon. I hope you're right. I hope so. I hope so. Because I talk mainly to the poor people that are being abused. But what makes them feel doubtful and like it's never going to happen is the virtual presence of the mind-invading, child-molesting, mind-raping perverts. I'm a rocket scientist. You're a liar. You're entitled to your opinion, but you have to be able to prove it with your science. I can outrun you and outjump you. Got our better immune system. And ladies love Cool Earl. Cooley. I'm Cooley. That's funny. But Cooley J. Cooley Earl Jr. Yeah. My dad's charming. He's charming, and well, shucks, man. He's very handsome, a good athlete, stuff. I'm a different kind of charming, but I'm the kind that pisses a lot of people off. Well, I have excellent sense of humor. I'm very funny. I do good impersonations. Wit, this brain shit. It's very witty, but you actually, what is it? And I'm a pretty fair singer. And I was always the best dancer everywhere we went, best athlete and things like that. So, and Dad said that about, when, because he was attractive and shucks, ma'am, and a good athlete. And a lot of people were jealous of him, I'm the molecular similitude of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. Next in line, yeah, fuck, here we go again. I don't want to pay money for sandwiches. I want everybody to share the how to teach people, Michelle. You don't like that? You like mine. I'll show you how. It's so beautiful. She's such a beautiful woman. I was thinking about Dimmy and her, Michelle's granddaughter. Every time I look at that picture on my phone with Dimmy and Michelle's granddaughter, and the little girl looks so much like her grandma. Makes me cry. And that was like fucking 10 years ago. So now she's like 13 or she's a teenager. I wonder how much she looks like Shell. I'll have to ask Punchy. Does she look like Shell? Does she act like her grandma Annie? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah. Just how she's doing. Are people being nice to her? I'm working on it. I want to have us living the Lord's Prayer, so Michelle's granddaughter is being loved by the best possible man in the history of the world, because we have global communications to live the commands of the Lord. I'm working on it, baby girl. I'm working on it. Yeah. My mom with the whole thing with the that was morphine. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. How do you lose yourself to someone? The music never ends. Right. And so when you speak to people in prayer and you promise them something, but it's the whole thing like it. I don't talk to them much because there's just too much hell going on, too much shit, too much hard things. The people I talk to the most, Jesus, Suzuki, Judo, a lot of times Haley. Judo and Suzuki a little bit more because they have a little bit more time too. Haley's and Sun Yat-sen's lives are very stressful. Not saying Judo's and Tiro Suzuki's lives are not. They're very stressful too. But they had the circumstances available to them to meditate on a consistent basis and focus on the kid from the Book of Revelation. So that's why it has nothing to do with, you're like picking favorites and all this. It has to do with just time in common, connecting to common people that we share. I have to know who you are, and I have to know your relatives, and I have to know who your relatives are. And of course, they'll know who I am because they were indoctrinated with that book. And they'd hear those stories, and then they would ask, like Juan Diego. There you go. That's an excellent example. Thank you, whoever said that. Thanks, blah, blah, blah's kids. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. That reminds me every time I say that, thank you. It reminds me of Frampton Comes Alive. Shadows grow so low before my eyes, and they're moving across the page. Suddenly the day turns into night. Everybody likes that song, right? Far away from the city, but don't hesitate, 'cause your love won't wait. Ooh, baby, I love your way every day. Wanna be with you night and day. Ooh. That's a good tune, man. Brown and gray and blue besides. I see why Bob liked it so much. Well, it was pretty easy to like. My sister used to have that album, yeah. No, it's very easy to like. It's a good tune. It's a good tune. Lord's Prayer first, and then those wasn't leaving philanthropy behind the best thing you ever done. Doesn't music have more meaning? Don't you go to sleep the moment you turn out the light? How philanthropy cluttered up the morning. Yeah, wasn't leaving philanthropy behind the best thing you've ever done. Hell yeah. Hell to the fuck to the shit, yeah. And we don't have to be sitting in it. Yeah, because if we would live in the Lord's Prayer, right? And the damn international pickup truck, we wouldn't have been driving from there, because we would be apart. It was like Little Green Valley. Why'd you leave the Little Green Valley? Because of all the assholes. But okay, and we are your overlords. That crap. As those caissons keep moving along from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of... Stop being taken by your brain chemical addictors. So go off and, mercenary, muck up there, fucking areas. I'm gonna need a gun. Oh, shut up, John Wick, already. Pussy face. What's funny about all those John Wick movies and shit? I am the most peaceful, kind sweetheart in the whole world. And the John Wick people were watching that Food City parking lot. See what happens. What will happen if he gets into an altercation there? He's on PCP, yes, pissed off child specter. This is embarrassing. Yes, it is, because in ancient times, I'd been able to teach him a lesson. You'd be, oh man, no, don't mess with DAD. He don't like it when people brush up on his girlies and ain't faithful and don't live the ways of the Lord. Yeah, you get mad. You don't make him mad, right? If I was the people in the Pentagon with their puppet shows at the borders and in the military installations and in District of Columbia and Santa Fe and in Austin, wherever, I would be most concerned with my well-being, how I'm feeling. And, anytime you come and fuck with my shit and fuck with people that are doing their best to try to help me do what I need to do to perform this apocalypse, I would take everything that you do in an act of suppression and oppression and violence and try to make it look like you ran me over in a parking lot of Best Buy on Loman back in 2013. I would take it and go, oh shit, I gotta... Like we talked about atonement. But it's very eloquent. Heaven and hell are what we do. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Have faith in God. Okay? And all your artwork one day will fade away. We're all dust in the wind, bro. Okay? But those that reflect the eternal beauty of the infinite gift of life from the glory of God, oh no, they can't take that away from me. All right? Poor Billie Holiday. She was, there was a lot of strength about her, though. Yeah, there was. When I connect to her in prayer, yeah, it's a very strong woman. Yeah. Maya Angelou lied on that book when she wrote about her time with Billie Holiday. She got chewed out and told you find people ain't down with it when you give them the lowdown on themselves. Billy did. Maya didn't write it down. It's like the Lord will. She told her the Lord will get me. She said the Lord will hear my prayer and make sure that you ain't so mean and vicious and think you all high and mighty. Yeah, so it's true. Nothing so because I know. I'll talk to you tomorrow.